Welcome back, boys and some girls. Do you enjoy Boom Boom? Well, I do, quite a bit. This is what actually pulled me into the game. The option to blow things up, to hear gun sounds, to just chill and watch things burning around you. Regular dude stuff, things that we love to see in games, but not in reality. And this is what this game is about. Exploding enemies and upgrading your vehicle to the point where you can actually AFK while your guy is deleting enough people to fill an entire city. As always, the subject in this video will be nothing about the story is very notable. I mostly skip the popping text boxes, but generally the story is just you are in a world where civilization as we know it just doesn't exist anymore, and only fractured part of the society live in heavily fortified bunkers. The world is split into factions like the clowns with a K, because it's much cooler. The cooler is also with a K, I guess. We also got factions like the pyros and the gunnuts, and I'm certain that you won't be able to guess what the characteristics are like just from their name. All of the factions have a relationship with each other, meaning you will be able to see them actually fighting one another out there in the world if you keep your distance and stay quiet. It is just very nice to roam around and find a couple of just lying there pieces of loot from a fight you didn't even know happened. One smart man, well, kinda smart because he loses to us, tries to unite everyone under him using some kind of a weird cult instead of just saying, hey, let's just live a better life together. But thinking is a bit hard and the story isn't meant to be really deep. It's just there to be a conveyor belt to feed you actual missions and wrap the gameplay in a very nice gift trap. So don't expect any twists and turns, just enjoy the gameplay. Oh, and speaking of gameplay, we have a lot to talk about, so prepare yourself. First, the game is a hub game. It's very similar to the first open world area from Warframe. You get missions and then you can go into the wild world, but with some restrictions like fuel, weight, and HP. In the hub, you will manage things like upgrading and buying everything through menus. Later on, we'll speak about the progression systems and stuff, but first, just know that the combat is mostly autoplay. You can use certain skills and cooldown once you guys have been upgraded enough, but it doesn't really expand much from there. So if you didn't enjoy your first hour or two in the game, there is just no point going beyond that. It's all the same from start to finish, just different looks and different numbers. As I said, your active role is limited to using skills like waste, that's what it's called in the game. It's exactly the same as VATS from Fallout, just auto-aim. You can choose things like damage boost for gunners, or slamming a nearby vehicle using your driver's skills, or even you can call for backup using the commander's skills. But in none of those you actually take an active role in the combat. I'm just making sure that you know that this is not Mad Max. In addition to combat, you also need to manage driving, which is by far the worst part of the game. The worst. The AI is in charge of driving. You only need to give directions. The problem is the AI is built after that girl who failed her driving exam 15 times in a row. It's horrible. It is manageable though. You get used to it. However, it will just lead to some unintentional damage taken by your crew, or simply you staying where you don't need to stay for too long, and then you just either fail an objective or again take too much damage and die. This also means, however, that the enemies are driving in the same exact way, which can give you an advantage once you actually understand how the system works a bit better. All this driving and combat that I just talked about will happen out there in the world, between or on objective. Objective can be things like outposts or headquarters, which are just bases you take over, or just a random spot on the map where enemies will be waiting for you. Most of the mission will show you a very clear mark on the map to let you know where you need to go. I only had one mission where I actually was forced to listen to the NPC in order to know where I need to go, but it might have just been a bug because there's plenty of those in the game. So if it's intentional, I liked it. If it is intentional, please make it permanent. It's a very nice change from the normal, and it wasn't very hard to find the correct location because I was only given two options at the same time, meaning that even if you made a mistake, you just need to backtrack a little bit and then you are back on the right path. So let's speak about the progression systems now. Blueprints. Blueprints are your BFFs. Never forget about them. Always look for them. In general, you will mostly find them from capturing outposts and headquarters, but also from relics, which tend to be a throwback to modern day items. You can either find it in a plane or in a crane, also in an apartment complex. You just need to scan the relic, it will show you on the map, and then it just spit out a special blueprint that you can take back to your base, which will unlock some new materials to craft. Before we start talking about building vehicles, we first need to talk about materials. You will find everything you need out and about. Some will require you being closer to the end game, while others will just show up right from the start. Obviously, the rarer the material is, the better it is, either for your crew's equipment or for your vehicle's parts. Rarity in the game just divides into 4 colors, from the lowest to the highest. This is what it is: white, green, blue, and finally the best one, purple. From then on, you can craft things as much as you want, as you get also materials passively from the outposts that you take over and the headquarters that you take over. Every time you finish a mission, you also get rewards from it. Besides, materials also relate to the faction that dropped the item. So for example, clowns will give you clown emblems and other blueprints that relate to the clowns, and so on for every single faction. As you play the game, you will unlock better and better blueprints for your crew and for your vehicle, each one making you more efficient and stronger with each item. Now let's talk a little bit about your crew. They are divided into 4 roles: driver, commander, drummer, and gunner. To strengthen the role, you will give specific equipment and invest skill points corresponding to that role. So for example, deadliness for gunners as a stat, and fitting clothes that increase mostly the gunning range and the gunning damage, but also slight defensive buffs so they can stay still in the turret and shoot. Each role has special stats and items, and there is a ton of items. However, sadly 95% of them are useless and you won't ever use them. I kinda wish the devs would just spend less time on the clothes and more times in other places that needed a little bit more love. Vehicles, the reason why we are even here. You are given a very free hand with whatever you want to do, the only limitations being basically physics. You need an engine, you need a wheel and a place for your commander. Besides that, do whatever you want. Everything else is optional. You can choose not to have anything else on your truck, although I would not recommend it. You certainly can do that, so good luck recruiting your crew again after they die. Now the average vehicle, and the one that also will show you no warning when you are in the garage, has an engine, has wheels, a commanding station, storage cage, extra fuel and extra water. Those are the very basic things that you have to have. If you add stronger weapons, for example, they might require things like power, flamer fuel, or maybe even a compressor. It all depends on the kind of weapon that you're using. At the very start, your vehicle will kind of look like it's being held together with duct tape, but slowly and surely it will become more and more proper looking, until your squad will actually be looking nice and ready to erase everyone who comes near you. This is it for the vehicles. As I said, you can be very creative with it. I had a ton of fun messing around with the builds. Overall, the gameplay was a ton of fun for me, though some people might have strong feelings for the repeating enemies and the bosses. They all are exactly the same. The game wasn't very difficult and I didn't need to think about what I was doing. I just didn't care if I fought the pyros, the clowns or the gun nuts. They all just stick to you and shoot. Some do more damage, some do less damage, but in the end you solve it in the exact same way. So it doesn't really matter. I enjoyed it, you might not. Do your own math. Also, pretty important things I need to tell you. It might sound like a little bit of a rant, but it's some kind of a mechanic in the game I call BS mechanic, and I'm talking about the airships in the game. The Orator airships. Orator is the main bad guy of the story. They can drop bombs on your head without any warning, no visual or audio signs, nothing. Just an explosion on your screen and you go back to leveling up your guys and recruiting everything again and rebuilding your vehicle. To me, this already sounds like a pain and a waste of time, but sure, why not? The game is easy anyway, right? No, here you go, just random bombs on your head out of nowhere and you die. If this happens to you early on, it will be fine. It's a pain, but it's definitely manageable. If you die later on, it's a freaking pain in the ass, because you already leveled up your recruitment level to the max, probably, which is level 40. Meaning all your new recruits will now show up at level 40. Which sounds amazing, right? No, there is a big problem. All the new recruits will be all-rounders, so they don't specialize into any stats, meaning they don't have the stats that you want. You don't have a specified driver, a specified gunner, a specified drummer, none of that. They are high level also, which means it will be so hard to level them up again into getting to whatever you want. So just a tip from me, don't ever level up your recruitment level unless the devs fix this whole point allocation for new recruits. And that is it for the gameplay. It's kind of fun but flawed, which is kind of how I would describe the entire game, I guess. Now, I was waiting for this section for a while, the vibes, also formerly known as visuals. The art style is cute. Together with the nonsense voices, it is quite charming. However, the strong point for this game is its music. I would often just, before I started recording, would sit there for a few minutes just listening to the music in the hub. It was very relaxing, but also very catchy at the same time. I can't really explain it. During fights or downtimes, everything just fits. The game is very loud in general, but you can play with the general settings however you want, so it's very nice. Usually I would measure how much I enjoy the music by seeing if I actually notice the music changes in between scenes and fights and whatever, and if I even stop to listen to the music. Even if there's no real story here, I actually felt immersed in the game, and I just had a ton of fun with the music in general. Performance, it wasn't great. I didn't experience any crashes, but I had plenty of freezes, basically every autosave and every time I loaded up a new area. Aside from that, I also had plenty of bugs that forced me to close the game and relaunch it again to fix it. Because if you just abandon the mission midway through, you lose a decent amount of support, and I just didn't want to do that and farm the same thing again, so I had to close the game from Steam and relaunch it. And by the way, I'm running on an i9 and a 3080. For monetization, the game cost $20 and already has a soundtrack DLC available for another $6 if you want it. I enjoyed the music, but I'm not gonna buy that, no thank you, but you do you. Aside from that, you can also buy the game in a bundle with other Crew games, because this game is part of a Crew series. I think it's like a Space Crew and a Bomber Crew, there's a couple of them, check them out if you want. So in the end, do I recommend Badlands Crew, yes or not? Yes. Is it even close to perfect? No. Play it if you can take some jank and you don't mind losing progress to crap like bugs and random death. If you got the cash and you have the interest, go for it. If you want more gameplay and you want more detail, go check my Let's Play of it. It's a very short version of the entire game. It took me 42 hours to finish the game, and I would rate the game a 6.5 out of 10. I base my decision on the current technical state of the game and the blatant disrespect for my time with the death mechanic. How much fun I've had and how I enjoyed the music. That's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why so I can improve. Besides, keep it safe. See you next one. Bye bye.